Hi everyone, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Ninja Gaiden, the original one from the Xbox, and I'm going to be playing this on very hard difficulty mode. And what I'm going to do right here, I left that sound effect in right there. Hopefully you heard it. I pressed the left trigger and right trigger, and while holding those two buttons in, I pressed the A button. So hopefully that little cheat will enable us to use this costume beyond Chapter 2. So the most important thing you need to know about this game currently, I mean there's a lot of changes between this and Ninja Gaiden Black, is that there's no camera in this game. Using the right analog stick only will do a first-person perspective from a fixed position and allow you to survey the immediate environment, but there is no camera controls in this game. There's also no charging ETs and UTs without essence staggered in the environment. So there's also no enemies in this chapter that will break your guard. So it's pretty easy. And for those of you who are thinking, why aren't you playing on Master Ninja mode? Well, Master Ninja mode doesn't exist in this game. What exists, or what did exist, was a Master Ninja tournament that was on the original Xbox service a long time ago, and it doesn't exist anymore. So the Master Ninja difficulty mode premiered in Ninja Gaiden Black, and I did a guide for that game and that difficulty if you want to check my playlists out. So I'm going to try to hit this bird right here, and they give you a lot of items here. Right there, this is Dragging Essence, so I'll be teaching you that as we progress. So I missed the bird. He would have dropped Blue Essence, but I'm going to be doing all the encounters, and this is a lot less stressful than Sigma or Black, because none of these enemies throw flaming shurikens and none of them break your guard, and it doesn't seem like you get damaged too much. So this is a little less of a challenge. So you see right here, I mean, if you just hold down the Y button, you will not do a charge. You have to have essence. So there is essence, and if you have one essence, if you have a yellow essence and you go into an ET status, you cannot then go into a UT. You have to have two. So that's how that works. And for the most part, I'm going to be doing, because there's not really too many moves we can do currently. We won't be able to do the flying swallow. There's a nice double beheading. So I'm going to charge and attack and take this guy out. And I think there's one more guy after him, or not. Okay, so we're going to get this little cutscene here. And I'm really looking forward to this guide. It won't be like the biggest challenge ever from a Ninja Gaiden game, but it will have a lot of challenge factor in some of the tests of valor, because those do exist. But a lot of the moves you're going to be seeing me do is excuse me, what am I talking about? This is the Xbox. XXY to do the slash, or forward X, or XX forward XX, or XX forward XY. So as you can see right there, I got canceled out of my charge from a standard shuriken, and that's how easily your charge can get broken in these games. Not the Sigma games, but all these games. And I originally played Sigma. After that I played Black, and now I'm playing this. So I'm going in reverse order for no other reason than that's just the way I ended up playing these games. But this is a very easy chapter. If you've ever defeated any of these on Master Ninja for Sigma or Black, this will be a cakewalk for you. I mean, in this next room, it's ordinarily one of those rooms where you always would die. But I'm going to drag essence, so always hold the block button. The essence staggers quite a bit in this game, and when I say stagger, I mean it just floats in the environment. As long as you don't get too close to it, it's not going to go into you. So you can just stand here, and these guys will never, I mean, if you just keep your guard up, these guys will never break your guard. So that's the great thing about these guys. So you've just got to do very meditative moves here, and keep your eye on how their combos are going. And when they stop their combos, you want to go in for a couple of quick chops. You can also bounce off the walls if you want to. But I like to do the Azuna drop and then do the Y stab, the downward stab when they're on the ground, lying face down on the ground. That doesn't always signify they're dead unless they're groveling, and then they will expire. But normally, if you can get over to them and stab downward, you could go for that final stab and get blue essence too if you need it, or yellow essence. It's random. So in this level, there are 5 of these potions, a talisman of rebirth, if you can believe it, and 1 high potion. So there's a lot of items on this level. So even when you're charging an attack, you can't. There's just no camera to move. So that's what they did in Ninja Gaiden Black. They put in a camera for you to actually. Because if you're running around the environment and you press the right analog stick, the character will just stop, and you'll go into the first-person mode. And then to get out of that, you would just press that button again, the right analog stick, press it down. And there's also some minor differences with the weapons. The only one that I don't think is in the game, well, I know for a fact, is the lunar. You don't get the lunar in this game. And there's a couple other oddities too. There's no smoke bombs in this game. And just several other mechanical things, which I'll be discussing in subsequent videos. Or even in this video if I could swing it. But the next room is called the dojo room, or the training room. And it's a room where you can fight as many times as you want to and get money and train yourself for the battle with Mirai. And when I say did I say that the enemies never cease to spawn in that room? I think there's 12 every time, or maybe somewhere around there. And there is a finite amount of them per session, but every time you re-enter that room, you'll have a fresh set to spawn. And this is not successive play where you bring your golden scarabs into your campaign with you. This is a standard campaign on very hard mode, the highest difficulty. Also, the guillotine throw, which we can't do currently, is not X and A. What it is now is you press Y while jumping forward, and it takes some getting used to, actually. And a moment ago when I said that the wind run is different, the wind run will still, it's also called the homing jump, I think, colloquially speaking, but there is the wind run in this game, but the only thing about it is there's no animation to show you that it's doing it. In Ninja Gaiden Black and Forward, they'll have like a hurricane little effect around him when he's doing it, like a little saw blades around him. So you saw right there that I got the Lives of the Thousand Gods. And on my first campaign, so how this works is that you get 2 difficulties to begin with. You can either play it on normal or hard. I played it on hard, and it was very, very easy, just because I played these games so many times. And then after you defeat one, I don't know if you can unlock very hard from beating just normal mode, but I defeated hard mode, and then I got this mode of play. So this room right here, I did this room several times to train and practice and get some money, get some health orbs. But I'm just gonna do this room one time just to show you that there is a finite number of enemies. But you may see me come back to this room. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure you will see me, and you'll see enemies respawning, the same exact enemies. So these enemies here, these are the only enemies in the entire level. None of them break your guard. The white guys, I think, have a little bit more HP, and they have a little bit more flourish to their combos. But believe me, if you just held your guard up, nothing would happen to you for forever until you lowered your guard. So it's one of those things where you've got to take a couple quick stabs and then go back into guarding. So we can't also counterattack right now either, so that's a limitation that I have to work with. There's just not very many moves that you can do currently, so it doesn't lend itself to a lot of variety in how I could actually play the game until we get into like Chapter 3 forward. But a lot of enemies here, And you could take, I mean, you could really, I mean, if you need health, this is a great place to get some health by killing these guys. Also down below in the catacombs area, there's some bats who will always spawn, so you could, you know, if you need to fill up before the boss fight, that's what I did. And you can also try to grind for money here if you need to, or do whatever you really want to, because this game is incredibly fun. And even though it doesn't have the ability to charge attacks, I mean, because you cannot be a UT spammer in this game because you just can't do it. So there was XX, forward, XY. That attack stabbed him, and that's the last guy. I'm going to get some health. Now I'm going to go back and save my progress. I made some money. Now we're going to go down below here, and don't forget to get this item over here. It's the high potion. And here's some bats to get some essence. What I also like to do is to have some essence staggered down here and then go up and get a charge going. It stays in the environment for a pretty long time before dissipating. And there's some absent enemies in this game, which a lot of you will probably enjoy. But check this out: a Talisman of Rebirth on the hardest difficulty. But the enemies that you won't see in this game: no cat fiends, no clones, no Ryu clones, and no nightmares. So those were always the hardest enemies for me, anyway. And it's a joy to not have those guys in this game. And the puzzles are pretty much the same as well, with a few minor differences that aren't really notable. So we got the Key of Courage now. We're going to head back, and notice that this training room, all the enemies respawn again, but you don't have to fight them, obviously. And this is just a fantastic game. I love this series so much, as many of you know, probably. And it's just an extreme joy to start on a new campaign, especially on a game you've never cleared before. And hopefully I'll be able to keep this costume the entire game with that code I put in. So there is XXY, there was forward Y, and now we're going to, after, you want to save it first, and we're going to go do this fight up here. It's pretty, none of these fights are as challenging as they are on Ninja Gaiden Black, though, I must say that. Not for this level. This chapter on Ninja Gaiden Black is excruciating, as it is on Sigma, because it's just like Sigma. But the lamppost down here doesn't give off any essence. But it was just so hard, because you might think that these guys are aggressive, but in Black and Sigma, you would have the red ninjas, and they would be so aggressive, even more than these guys, and be throwing their shurikens and trying to guard break you and everything like that. And also, no lackeys on this game. You know, everyone knows how much I hate lackeys. I think like a couple of bosses might have lackeys. Like I know Marvis has lackeys, but Mirai, we could actually fight this guy in a traditional manner without having to deal with these goddamn lackeys. And because of that, I can actually have a fight where I don't just continually jump off the wall and spam that attack, which actually is desirable if you do want to do that. It's actually, you can get through the fight without having to use hardly any healing items. But as it stood here, I used, I think, almost all of my healing items in this fight. It's a very tough fight, because this guy is going to block constantly, and he's going to try to grab you constantly. So what you need to do is keep your guard up, and the move that you really want to do is XX, forward, XX, or XX, forward, XY. And you could also just do forward X like I did right there, forward X like twice. But after he charges, it's a great opportunity to go in. Just don't hang around too much nearby him at any time. I'm going to jump off the wall and do the helmet splitter a couple times in this, maybe 5 or 6 times, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to have a decent brawl with this guy. So the nunchucks that he uses, we'll get those after the fight, but for now we have to fight him with those. And as you can see, he's very aggressive, he's very fast, but he skulks over to you in a very casual way, and it makes you very complacent. So you've got to always just evade at the last second. See that? XX forward, XY. And when I say forward, I just mean forward in whichever way the enemy's at. So whichever way he's at. And as you can see, he always blocks, and he loves to grab. And this right here, I believe that's just an unwinnable quick time event. This is one of those random things. So that's what I always look for. I look for him to do the charge, and I just don't loiter next to him too much. And a couple times I pressed XXY, and I think one time it actually took, but it's a pretty dangerous move because you're too slow as this character to shuriken cancel. I mean, sometimes you can. It's fine to do that in the game. It's actually very helpful, but not on this boss. Ryu just can't recover as fast as in Ninja Gaiden 2. So there we go. Same move that I mentioned there. I'm going to back out of the corner. But how nice is this to not have lackeys here to ruin the whole fighting experience? But as I mentioned before, I just cleared hard, so I don't know exactly if every boss doesn't have lackeys, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So that's something to definitely look forward to. If you've never played this game, I would play it, even if you played Ninja Gaiden Black to death, or all the Ninja Gaiden games to death like I have, except the bad ones, and we know which ones those are. But even if you've played Sigma a lot, this is a great game. So I think here the main disadvantage is that our character is rather slow. I mean, they sped him up a lot in Ninja Gaiden 2. So there's just no button prompts right there, and I was mashing buttons trying to do something, but you just don't win. I've never won it. And I think this game's a little bit too old for that quick time button thing that they started implementing in games. Yeah, see, I tried to do the Azuna drop right there. He just doesn't that move just doesn't lend itself to this fight very much at all. So I mean, if you're having trouble, do what I did. Look through the combo list and just kind of play around with the combos. But if you just want a quick win where you don't have to keep doing that's all you've got to do. And just whenever you come off the wall, if you don't hit him, or even especially if you hit him, I would say just evade out of the way. But it's high time that we had a regular fight with this guy, and it's great that there's no lackeys around. And I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this game and this guide. It's going to be a fantastic project. It's going to be a great month of Ninja Gaiden. So stay tuned. I'm going to be doing all the tests of valor that I can possibly do within my skill level. So hopefully that will include all of them. And hopefully I will be able to keep this costume too, because it's my favorite one, and I've always lamented the fact that you couldn't keep it the whole time and that you had to switch to the leather costume in Chapter 3. But anyway, so he's got a long health bar, and we're wheedling it down slowly but surely. We're keeping our guard up constantly, and we're going in for some strikes, getting our damage. I mean, you will hit him. I mean, even though he blocks constantly, the game will relent. I mean, he will relent enough for you to get in your hits. But you've got to know which moves you cannot do. Like, I would not press... like XY, that's pretty much a bad move, because when you come down from that Y attack, he's very likely to grab you. So that's pretty much why I like to do XX forward XX. And a lot of the times I'm also very, very tempted to shuriken cancel out of these attacks, but it's just too slow. You'll never even be able to get off a shuriken before he grabs you. We also have a very interesting training section in the next chapter with Mirai that they removed from Black and Sigma. It's brief, but at least it's something really interesting and different. I mean, they're moves that I've already told you guys how to do them. One of the moves is just the reverse wind, blocking and then evading with the left analog stick. But I think we almost have this guy to the point where he's going to perish. Tried to grab right there, I was well out of his way. I just don't like having lackeys. When I'm fighting a boss, just let me fight the boss. There doesn't need to be any lackeys hanging around. So there he's slain, and that chapter's cleared. And these scorecards, to me, they're very meaningless, but I'm going to keep them in anyway. And I'll see you guys in Chapter 2. I'm really looking forward to this, so everyone stick around and we'll have some great times.